welcome to the opening event for Race Equality Week 2022. I'm Raj Tulsiani, Chief Executive of Green Park. I'll be directing traffic this morning. I'm also the Chair of Race Equality Matters, which I co-founded with Javed Thomas of the Collaboratory. If you're here, it means you care. So thank you for joining us. It's fantastic to have so much support here today. We've had an incredible number of people registering for this event from over 150 different towns and cities, including Manchester, Birmingham, Newcastle, Belfast, Cardiff, Glasgow, but also from Switzerland, Germany, Italy, and as far away as Colombia. And we've always hoped that the good practice and lived experiences that we can access and make free available to people can help organisations both in the UK, but also further afield to actually walk it like they talk it. All of the people here are parts of the Race Equality Matters community, and we're looking to not just collaborate with you, but also help each other be more effective catalysts for change. So before we start, another bit of housekeeping. We will be recording this event for you to access later, along with the slides, in case you want to get some benefit from them or share them with other people. Your sound will be auto-disabled, but if you have any questions along the way, please do put them in the chat and we will hopefully cover them during the session. Please tweet and use social media to use our content during and after the event so we can create a big Race Equality Week buzz. You'll see our handles on the right. Remember, the main hashtag for this year is action, not words, and we are targeting 3.5 million people in the workplace, ethnic minorities and allies who will get some benefit from the time you're investing with us this week. So all of this would not be possible without the support of our partners who, alongside Green Park, are funding Race Equality Matters. So thank you to them. A big thanks to our lifetime visionary partners, BT, and our founding partners, the DMA, HS2, and Edelman, who we'll hear more from later. Their support means that as individuals, you can access all of these resources for free. It's a total labour of love. Nothing's perfect, but on a shoestring, we're affecting how organisations are held accountable, and the role you play as part of this community has never been more important. We are a not-for-profit, and we're very keen indeed to find further funding. So if your organisation would like to get involved, please do get in touch with us to find out more. So today's session, as ever, is going to be dynamic and super fast-paced with 3 fantastic speakers. We've lots to pack in, and we'll close at 10:45. And just for you, we will be exclusively launching our new tool for the hashtag My Name Is Solution. So as always with these things, we start off with a poll of people here today took part last year. 38% said no, and the majority were unsure, which I think is quite telling. Is your organisation participating? Yes, 66%. Thank you for that. Unsure, 21%. Which activity is your company doing during Race Equality Week? Really interesting. So 41% of us are organising internal events. 31% are getting involved with the new campaign, My Name Is, which we'll talk about later on. And then quite a spread between the virtual bag, Big Promise, Safe Space, Tea Break. And only 15% are in organisations that aren't participating, doing anything for Race Equality Week. So 45% of our allies, 51% of us are ethnic minorities in the organisation, so a good mix there. And then within the kind of roles within the organisation, as you'd expect, 17% race network leads. We've got a network of 1,000 of those now within Race Equality Matters. 21% diversity and inclusion, 33% other. HR down at 11%. So quite interesting that 17% of the people in the call see themselves as senior leaders. And then when we put that into context, how well do you think your organisation tackles race equality? with action, not words. We've got 35% are not enough and 34% at satisfactorily. So I think that's a fantastic change from last year. And I'd love to see the breakdown of how many of those people are senior leaders or in HR and D&I versus other parts of the organisation. But a nice spread and certainly signs of progress. I'm very pleased with that. And then question 7, how much change have we noticed? The majority of us, 42%, have noticed a fair amount. Really encouragingly, 13% of us have noticed a great deal. And then when we look at the more negative end of that, only 4% have said not at all, and only 12% have said not enough. So clearly the will to do something has increased, and part of our job is to ensure that that will is now matched with increased skills to make sure that things actually land. Do you feel senior leaders and managers are committed to tackling race equality? Well, given the fact that there's 17% of senior leaders here, I'm glad to say there's a whopping 68% positivity on that, and only 9% saying no. Do you feel your senior leaders and managers are comfortable talking about race? Now, this has changed dramatically. So now we've got 42% at comfortable. Last year, that would have been much, much lower. We've got 12% at very comfortable. Last year, that would have been low single digits. So again, signs of progress. Why have you joined today's event? Mix of things here. To be inspired, well, we can't promise that. To be empowered, well, we can do something to help for that. Hope for change, I share that. But most of us are here to either learn or to find out more about the My Name Is tool. So thank you for that. Gives us an idea of not who's on the call, not just who's on the call, but what we're here for. So thank you. So the next slide, and for the next few minutes, we'll just give a bit of background to new people, to the community. In case you haven't been to our events before, Javed and I created Race Equality Matters in response to what we've called the moment, the summer of 2020. We didn't want to look back and see that once again, following the kind of public movement to do something more around diversity and inclusion, it just turned into words, or it just turned into corporate black screens or empty promises that weren't linked to real behaviour change and actions in organisations. So we wanted to capture that energy, and we created the Race Equality Matters movement to do so. Basically, Race Equality Matters is about no more talking, no more PR gesturing. It's about both solutions and meaningful actions co-created with the people who are there to benefit. Understanding that talent is everywhere, but opportunity isn't. And by capturing and amplifying the voice of the communities we serve, united, we've been co-creating really impactful concepts and solutions in collaboration with those with lived experience of race inequality, and critically of change management. So we aim to be a catalyst to move organisations and individuals from conversations to meaningful action that has real impact on their recruitment, retention, brand, performance management, the whole employee life cycle. And of course, in today's world, all organisations are in a glass box, and depending where you are in society, you're looking at that box from different angles. So it's really important that what we do is not just, it's amplified, and the learning is amplified from this group into the other hundreds of thousands of people that have attended these seminars. So the inaugural Race Equality Week took place last February, with over 2,000 organisations got involved. It was a great start. Race Equality Week itself was created to be a place for measurement and recollection. So pause, to look at what was needed to be a catalyst for ongoing changes, to unite thousands of organisations and millions of individuals, and critically to focus senior leaders on not just doing the right thing, but doing things that were right for their company, for their cultural change, for their bottom line, and for their brand. So to create the change we all want to see and feel, we need more organisations to get involved. and drive change across the length and breadth of the UK and beyond. We need all of you to be part of it and to be brave, courageous in telling others. Remember, it all starts the first Monday of February each year. So the next one will be from the 6th to the 12th of February 2023. Now we're going to share a quick video to bring a bit of last year's Race Equality Week into your rooms, offices, and maybe still homes.
Okay, thank you, Raj. Thank you, everyone. Good, happy Race Equality Week, if we can say that. Thank you. So without further ado, and on to our first speaker, Geeta Subramaniam-Mooney she's Director of Brighter Futures and Newham's Children and Young People's Commissioner at the London Borough of Newham. Please unmute yourself, Geeta. Thank you. As a key member of the corporate management team, Geeta also leads on a number of cross-corporate agendas, including the Senior Responsible Officer for Racism, Inequalities and Disproportionality. So a warm welcome to Geeta. Geeta's been given 4 minutes. We said it'll be fast paced. So please tell us why the theme action, not just words, and you need action in this 4 minutes, is important to drive you towards race equality. And what activity have you driven over the last 18 months, and what you plan to do in Race Equality Week?
Thank you very much. Morning, everyone. So my name is Geeta and I'm proud to be of South Asian heritage. I'm also proud to be sharing the work that we've been doing here at Newham Council and in the Borough on tackling racism, inequality and disproportionality. And for the first time in my career, I really feel things are changing and happening. We are seeing and hearing from many people, some of whom have rightly been cynical about the programme and now talking positively about the tangible changes that they are seeing, but there's still lots more to do. Building on the last 18 months, we've been listening to staff, residents and partners through time to talk sessions. The importance of talking, sharing, listening and hearing cannot be underestimated, but taking action is essential. There are things that have emerged that do not and should not continue, and these are things that we just need to change. The way we recruit and offer opportunities to develop so people are not excluded based on ethnicity or other protected characteristics is not particularly difficult. And we need to do this because it will have a huge impact. Showing people respect by discussing the importance of calling out microaggressions, pronouncing people's names accurately, and finding alternatives to the term BAME, which we do not use here anymore. We have gone through a reciprocal mentoring programme with a number of staff being engaged, and we have internal champions and trainers supporting that reciprocal mentoring programme. We also have been committed to make the Borough the best place for children and young people. So we supported funding for an Education for Change, which is led by our head teachers in Newham secondary and primary schools with resources to help support a curriculum box that really does challenge racism. We've also developed procurement and services that we commission, so launching internal commissioning networks, changing our contract standing orders, and also delivering a new translation and interpretation service. And we've also become a beacon of social change, renaming our Siemens Brook Way as Cummal Trunchie Way. It just takes a will to change. Learning and co-designing with all of us across the organisation and our communities takes actions together, not words. This coming week, we have a time to talk with our community on Wednesday, which is going to have our Dr. Joy White, a local resident, author and lecturer who is going to join us. We have a roadshow on Friday with our staff, which is really an informal session for staff to talk more, understand what they need to do. And we have borrowed with pride the tea break idea from Race Equality Matters. And we also have a launch on Thursday of a video and an exhibition at Stratford Library of many artworks. I think it's really important to say we are committed, we are relentless, we are focused on the whole system, listening, hearing and taking action. Small and large actions will all make a difference. Bringing about the change we need requires our individual and collective commitment. Make what we do count to shape a future of race equality. Thank you.
That's brilliant, Geeta. Thank you so much. And I think it's great to sort of get your experience that you feel there is some change going on, which is really important. You know, we need to keep this hope going. And also said the listening, the learning and the taking action absolutely sums it up perfectly. So thank you for sharing that. And for those people who have been asking, we will share the Race Equality Matters video at the after the event, and also later in the week we'll share a copy of today's event. So thank you for that. What we just wanted to do is get some other people's voice of why Race Equality Week is important. Claire, if you can play that video, thank you.
Progress on race equality is too slow. So when organisations take part in Race Equality Week, it gives them the opportunity to accelerate their journey towards anti-racism and workplace equality.
It is about what we've done with our metrics, what we've put in place, how effective the programs have been that we've put in place, and also gives us a bit of a reality check on what we need to do better.
We need to do this work. It's absolutely vital that the focus that's created by having this specific week will allow us to look into those systems and practices that we have in place that so far disproportionately disadvantage people who have a racial background.
Thank you. So I'm delighted to introduce our second speaker from one of our key partners, the Data and Marketing Association. They'd be fantastic supporters. Rachel Aldighieri, Managing Director of DMA. Please unmute yourself and a warm welcome. As well as being business leader, Rachel is also data and marketing specialist. She is passionate about driving authenticity and diversity in the data and marketing industry. And we're delighted to have her here today. And they do also look at AI and its bias, or how to take out the biases, which is really interesting stuff. So in the next 4 minutes, Rachel, as per normal, please can you share why Race Equality Week and race equality is important to the DMA, and why you're involved as supporters of Race Equality Matters, and what you're planning to do during the week. Thank you.
Absolutely, thanks, Javed. Yeah, I think it really, to start with, just giving you the context in terms of who we are. Many of you might not be familiar with the DMA, and we're the trade body that represents the data and marketing industry. We've got about 1,000 corporate members, ranging from big brands to startups, tech companies, data companies, as well as students and individual professionals. So our real audience quite literally spans the classroom to the boardroom. But what probably sets us apart is our commitment to intelligent marketing and a people-first approach. And that's why working with Javed and the Race Equality Matters team is so important. We really value integrity and accountability, and all our members adhere to this code, which is very much people-driven first approach. So for us, championing race equality and inclusion isn't just about doing what's right for society. It's intrinsically linked to our mission of driving intelligent marketing that puts people first. And for our industry to better serve customers, it's vital that our workforce is representative of society. And we know that's currently just not the case. We recognise there's so much more to do to create meaningful change, which is why we became a founding partner of Race Equality Matters. And really driven and motivated by that approach of action, not words. As an organisation, we're focused on attracting new and different talent to our industry, but equally important is about creating environments where that talent thrives, and that's become a real focus of our work. You know, a recent census in our industry from the Advertising Association showed that Black talent makes up only 3% of the industry workforce, alongside 7% of Asian talent, and at the C-suite, just 3% identify as Asian and just 1% Black. But among the most startling results, I think, really, were that a third of Black talent in advertising and marketing say they're going to leave over lack of inclusion. So that's something we really feel we need to address. So that's why over the past 18 months, we've been backing initiatives from Race Equality Matters like Safe Space, The Big Promise, and the hashtag My Name Is campaign coming up. And this week, we've got a focus on 2 particular areas. So first up, tomorrow morning, we'll be hosting a webinar on how to diversify your workforce through young talent, and we're exploring the benefits of attracting young talent from wide-ranging talent pools. And I think that's critical. That's tomorrow at 10. I think you can sign up via Race Equality Matters on the DMA site. And then another really important initiative that we're kicking off formally this week is the first official meeting of our Black Professionals Forum, which has been formed off the back of roundtable discussions we've been running with Black colleagues over the past year. These guys predominantly work in brand side, and they've spoken very candidly about the reasons behind the issue I mentioned earlier with regards to Black talent leaving the industry. And with their leadership, input, and amazing enthusiasm, actually, we're looking to really try and address those issues and really lie within the ethos of Race Equality Matters by focusing on that action plan as opposed to just talking about it. And of course, we're going to continue to champion the many important initiatives, particularly focusing this week as part of Race Equality Matters. Thank you.
Brilliant, thank you. And what's interesting, I think Geeta touched upon it, touching base in schools, and Rachel about younger generations. So I think getting more inclusive and reaching out to, I think, a community that is very much all about inclusion. I think they will help drive the change that we're looking for. So thank you. So what we'd like to do is just share a little flavour of what else is happening in some other organisations. So if Claire can play the video.
The Council will be marking Race Equality Week with a week-long series of virtual events and seminars and interactive discussion forums that will focus on race as well as intersectionality and several other common issues.
At Atkins, part of S&C Lavland, we are having an open-ended discussion about why supporting race equality is important in the workplace, because it's not just about words, it's about action. So join the conversation.
Great, thank you. Delighted to introduce our third speaker, and welcome back from speaking last year. So the wonderful Rob Anarfi. If you can unmute yourself. Rob is Beazley's Chief Risk Officer. You may recall him introducing us to something at the end of Race Equality Week last year. Rob's been a global head of compliance for 6 years. Originally joined the group in 2012 as head of internal audit. Rob is the executive sponsor of Race at Beazley, the group's network focus on race and ethnicity equity. He's also the co-chair of Rattle, which he'll touch upon, which was launched last year during Race Equality Week. We've invited Rob back to showcase action, not just words. So Rob, you've guessed it, in the next 4 minutes, please can you introduce us to Rattle and an update on progress since last year and what Rattle and Beazley are doing with a focus on action, not just words.
Thank you very much, Javed, and to you, Raj, and Donna, and the whole team for inviting me back. I appreciate it. So in the time I've got, I thought I would update everybody on what we've been doing with Rattle. And for those who weren't here last year, a very quick reminder, firstly, about the initiative. It's in the insurance industry for now. I'll come back to that. And a few of us got together, a few senior leaders of colour during Race Equality Week and post George Floyd's murder to do something different in the industry. A lot of action had been taken over recent years, but we couldn't see any change. We couldn't see any real action that was really moving the dial. So Rattle stands for Race Action Through Leadership. And the idea is relatively simple. We, as a group of senior leaders of colour in our industry, have essentially got together a group who we call the ambassadors. They're basically the chairs and the CEOs in our industry. And all we're doing really is ensuring that they are leading the charge for addressing the lack of representation in our industry. When I spoke last year, I think we had less than 10 ambassadors, chairs and CEOs, as we call them. Today we have around 35. Last year we focused on 3 things. First, on their personal accountability, which is critical and central to the initiative. It is not about us as a minority group, because we didn't choose to be minorities in the industry we work in. And we believe they have all the power to make sure change happens. So their personal accountability is something that we help them focus on. Second, we focused on data. And there we kind of did a poll, we did a survey to understand where we are as an industry with data and what steps we could take to enhance that, and then what to do with the data. And following that, a number of us have set some goals and some targets around ethnicity, and within that around Black talent within people of colour. And then we also worked on fluency. We came to understand pretty early on that one of the significant barriers against the chairs and the CEOs, the ambassadors, actually taking action and speaking within their organisations was their fear of not possessing the right language and the right fluency, and for fear of being called out if they said the wrong thing. So we worked with them on that. If I fast forward to 2022, we're focusing on 3 things. Firstly, we as an organisation are relatively young, and so we're learning as we go and working out how to be more efficient and effective in what we do. 2, we're really focusing on partnerships. One of the things we've observed, and if you're here today, this will not be news to you, there are lots of us and lots of organizations and lots of events all trying to move towards the same thing. And one of the things we want to do is to connect dots. And Rachel, something that I've just worked out. Yesterday, I had a very long conversation with the co-founder, the person I originally founded this with, called Pauline Miller, who joined Dentsu. And so we had a long conversation about how she's trying to take to that industry what we've been doing in insurance. And in one of the earlier videos, Mark Lomas, who's now in Lloyd's of London, he's moved over to our industry now. So there's a lot of connections that we're trying to make to move things forward. And the thing that we're really looking forward to this year is to create access to talent. So having got the ambassadors, the chairs and the CEOs fired up for action, one of the things that we've observed, and Raj may smile at this, is access to talent. So one of the things we've repeatedly heard them come to us and ask is, now we're really fired up, really looking for talent, in particular in the senior positions, we struggle sometimes. And so one of the things that we're working on hard this year is how to find that talent cross-industry and make it more accessible to our ambassadors. I think my time is up, Javed, so I'll stop there.
No, brilliant. No, thank you very much. And you talk about collaboration and uniting. So I'm going to hand you back to Raj, who will talk about collaboration we've been doing. You're mute, Raj.
Thank you, speakers. And Rob, just because your ambassadors want more black people in their business, don't think black people are going to run to go and work there if the culture's rotten.
We've got great culture at Beazley.
Well, I'm glad that we moved Mark Lomas. He'll make a difference in your industry as well as some of the great people you've got surrounding you. Okay, so now I'm going to introduce Edelman. They've got some exciting news. As our partners, Edelman are an award-winning and global PR consultancy firm. Do check them out. They've come up with an amazing tool to support My Name Is. With their support in Green Parks, you can access it for free. So a huge thank you to them and to Donna and Javed and Emma and everyone who's been involved in this project. Hopefully you will have heard a bit about My Name Is. It's a solution to do with basic common courtesy of getting people's names right, which also starts to address the microaggression of people being seen as less than in organizations or feeling that they have to dumb down their own authentic personality and even name to get by at work. 73% of the people we polled said people get their name wrong. All of them said through their lives it had a negative impact, and for many it still does. 93% said that My Name Is, as a solution, can make a real access. This includes spelling our names phonetically. So to assist us with this, I'm going to introduce you to Sat Dayal, who's been a fantastic supporter of Race Equality Week and Green Park, and Jamie Caldwell from Edelman, who can tell you more.
Thanks so much, Raj. It's
epic picture, Sat.
Sorry?
Epic picture.
Is a good picture there? Yeah, that's meant to be my brooding self. Sorry, you're going to see that going up in a little while. But look, it's great to be here. Thanks, Raj. I thought actually I'll just kick off with the story because everyone knows what the My Name Is campaign is about. So I just thought I'd share my story. So as up on the screen there, my name is Satyen, but most people call me Sat, and I'm not sure when my name became shortened to Sat, but it's probably because someone found it difficult to pronounce my full name, and so shortening it was easy for them. In entering professional life, I attempted to reclaim Satyen, but it just got shortened to Sat then as well. So now when people attempt to pronounce my name in full, I just say Sat. It just feels odd not to. Those who are from South Asian descent and perhaps even Gujarati will know that Satyen actually means truth, as does Sat. But the pronunciation of it is something even I've got wrong. The Sat part is actually more like Sat. The Yen is more like Yen. So it's more like Satyen is the way they should pronounce my name. Complicated indeed, but something that I've appreciated, so something that I've certainly appreciated and welcomed through the years when folks actually ask me to correct the correct pronunciation of my name. And even though they still get it wrong, that simple gesture creates a real sense of belonging and empowerment. Empowerment because by answering it, I'm able to express the part of my identity that as an immigrant of Indian heritage, I've tended to hide or overlook just to assimilate more easily. Belonging because, well, their simple curiosity has brought me closer to them. In fact, that sense of empowerment and belonging came just the other day when I was speaking to colleagues about this campaign. And they asked me, well, is there actually a nickname for Satyen? And they said, I said, yeah, actually there is actually. It's Satu or Satu. That in itself was pretty powerful for me. But does it mean I'm going to go and change my name by deed poll to the phonetic translation or maybe even ask people to pronounce the shorter version of Sat? Probably not. But that's my story, and I think many of us can empathise that others have had much more challenging situations as this, impacting their sense of identity and inclusivity, particularly for those from minoritized ethnicities. So look, we're really proud to be part of this campaign that we worked alongside Green Park, Race Equality Matters to develop. It's launching today, it's on the website right now, and Jamie's going to talk you through how it works.
Just go to the next slide. Yes, so the idea that we created, to Sat's point, was the phonetic filter. It's a simple website I'm going to just take you through right now, but it's a social tool that will make it really, possible to, and simple and intuitive for anybody to sort of create a image and find the phonetic spelling for their name. So when you visit mynameis.io, you land on the sort of left-hand view. It just gives you a sort of a simple bit of background about the actual campaign and what we're sort of trying to do. The second frame shows you what happens when you scroll down and you actually find the tool. There you would actually just sort of enter in your name. On the third frame, it actually sort of then shows what would actually happen when you type into the field. It actually gives you that little sort of default pronunciation. In the fourth frame, what you can actually see is we recognize that while there, some people may have the same name but a different phonetic spelling or different pronunciation for it. So when you click on the drop down, you can actually see that you get sort of an option to choose the phonetic spelling that's closest to your name. If the tool doesn't have the phonetic spelling that is the closest the way you would like to pronounce it, or it doesn't have your name at all, a little bit of a message sort of pops up at that point in time that actually sort of says that we are actually we're already at about 500,000 names in it already. But the more people use this tool, the better and smarter it's going to become, the more names we're going to actually have in it, and the bit quicker it's going to grow. Then you can see on the fifth frame, what's really great then at this point is you can upload a photo if you choose to. You don't have to, but you can. And then at that point, you can actually download that image to share on any or all of your social channels. Also underneath it, you can see, but on the right-hand side, you actually can just copy and paste the actual text spelling of the phonetics as well. So if you wanted to sort of add it to your email body, or if you wanted to add it to, say, the description under one of your profiles, you can do too. And then the last 3 frames, you can actually see just what happens if people sort of scroll down, they want to learn more about the campaign, how to sort of create a phonetic spelling, or anything to do with Race Equality Matters or Race Equality Week as well. And that's it. So it's really simple. Please do go and use it. Please do let us know if you have any issues, because we're obviously always trying to make this better and smarter. But yeah, hopefully it should be really simple and intuitive for you guys to use.
Thank you. That's great. I mean, we're looking for 100 organisations to implement My Name Is this week. So please do a pledge to be part of My Name Is and get using the tool. I'm told we've already got 50 signed up, and you'll see the link in the chat. So before we close, I would really appreciate 90 seconds of your time for a final poll. This informs us to some of the priorities you'd want to see going forward. Again, we want this to be free. We do need support, financial support and activity support, but we're not going to prostitute our values, and we're going to keep this going. So in whichever way you can help, please do, and you'll all change. You're all changing your organisations. You're not just change agents, but you're often the catalyst that can make other people behave and act differently. Now we see organisations have the will to do something. Let's make sure they can access our skills to make those things land and meaningful. So, poll 2. The final question, do you think your organisation will use the phonetic spelling tool? I wish there's a question at the end there saying, why not? Because actually, it'd be quite useful. And what we see is a great take up from the public sector and certain parts of the private sector, particularly transport infrastructure. Now, those are the organisations that seem to be much more proactive around race equality in a kind of more transparent manner and pushing themselves out than banking or professional services or certain parts of consumer goods technology. They're really great at amplifying aspirations, but they haven't been great at actually doing anything. Particularly that looks from what we get from our secret shopper into those companies. So 95% would recommend today's event. Thank you very much. Do you think REM will be able to tackle? 50% said it's a catalyst for change. 26% said only a little. No one said it wouldn't make any difference, so thank you for that. Big shout out to Geeta, 94%. Thank you to Rachel, 91%. And again, fantastic feedback on Rob, 95% said yes. 81% are in favour of the tool, thinking that it will work. 60% of us will actually use it, which I think is very high. So thank you for that. Will you use the tool? Sorry, because I'm following the chat also popped up and did that. Will you use the phonetic spelling tool? 73% said yes. How easy do you think it would be to get your organisation to adopt My Name Is? 1% said it was impossible. I'd love to know who they work for. And 5% of them said it's already implemented, which is awesome, given the fact it's hot off the press. And most of you said it would either be fairly easy or you're not sure. So there's only one way to find out, isn't there? Is to get stuck in. And in terms of how do you think your organisation will use the phonetic spelling tool, 57% of you said that you're unsure. So those last two questions about implementation, a lot of us are not sure, which is fine, which is always difficult when you're the person trying to deliver the innovation. But remember that, you know, this is to drive a real clear benefit. It's free. It costs them nothing to be more inclusive. So if you can influence, please do.
Just to echo what Jamie says, if your phonetic name isn't on there, you have a choice. Do put it in because it builds it. So it's a self-building tool. So there's 500,000 at the moment. You know, in a few months' time, there'll be 1 million and 2 million. That's how we do it. It's a kind of co-contribution, co-collaboration. You know, if your name's not on there, don't walk away. It's absolutely crucial you feed into it. Rob, you had a quick word?
Really, really quickly, and I don't know whether or not this is possible. Javed, you and I and Donna had a conversation yesterday about my phonetics. Some phonetics are quite tonal. So mine, for example, is Anarfi. So it's almost got some kind of rhythm and musicality to it. To what extent, Jamie, in future might we be able to actually record it as well as use the phonetics? Because often that's what people really struggle with. It's not just seeing it, it's knowing what it sounds like. So I don't know whether that's something we could explore in future.
Thank you, Rob.
So,
oh,
yeah,
sorry,
no, that's
Jamie.
Oh, no, that's a really great question. And it's something that we've been looking into because it sort of almost requires a little bit of like an AI to start to learn some of that as well, because it's a massive thing. And it's a tool that we would look to grow, and we think you could grow, and there is that potential to grow. And we were looking at sound inclusion, but it was just in the time that we had at this point, it was a bit too hard, but for maybe in the future, it'd be something that we would look into. So yes, it's a good shout. It's a great one. I mean, ultimately what we do want the takeaway from this is for people to just have that conversation, not be afraid to go, am I pronouncing this correctly? Or to say, no, this is how you pronounce my name. So I think this is that first step, but the more that we use this tool, the more that we grow it hopefully over the coming months and years, the better it will become.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Jamie. If any big corporates out there would like to help us build the next version of this tool, we're all ears and willing to collaborate. And finally, thank you all for joining us today, for our fantastic speakers, Rob, Rachel, Geeta, Jamie, and Satyen. Also, a big thank you to our partners, including BT and Green Park, and a huge thanks to these other fantastic companies and minority-owned businesses that have helped us not just find out where the real problems are, but to create the research that leads to meaningful pathways for actions that organizations that are both small or large, early or late in their journey, can get back on track to create an environment for more trust around their workplace and more value and relevance to our changing demographic in the UK. Remember, it doesn't end with Race Equality Week. That's just the start of each year. So do check out our free solutions if you have not done so already. If your organisation would like to donate or sponsor future events, become a partner, or just help please do get in touch. This is the help we need to keep doing what we're doing. If you value it, please try and help us increase the power of this movement. I know some of you already have kindly donated, so thank you. And finally, do sign up to our website if you haven't registered already. You can stay up to date with everything related to Race Equality Week and what is in the pipeline, things like the new campaigns, the job boards, opportunities, good practice. We will send you a link in a follow-up email. We will share the recording soon. It is our policy to share all recordings. And finally, please do remember, we cannot change the past, but united, we can change the future. My name is Raj Tulsiani, and let's not go back to normal. Thank you.